Being yelled at by agents and managers. That's a thing. That's a thing. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Marckie P Show.
Wow.
I've got a guest here today, one of my boys, the owner and co-founder of Envy Concepts, the VP of Talent at Big Night, managing partner of Big Night Talent, partner in Big Night Breaks.
Wow.
You own 13 Golden Corrals.
At least 13.
He's at Timmy10s on Instagram. He's also unemployed, just like the rest of us.
Correct.
I think you own 3 GameStops.
The GameStops I had to sell
Those
during
are gone.
COVID, yes.
Yeah, I figured. What's good, man?
Marckie freaking P.
I know. Would you ever
Look at this.
Yeah,
The beauty that we have right here. I get to look at this and you at the same time.
The fact that I have to look at my face as a logo and the logo looks better than me in real life is kind of upsetting.
Your skin looks amazing in that picture.
Yeah, it's that new routine I got going on. I just rub cottage cheese all over my face every night and then...
Well, you don't have much face to rub on because there's so much beard.
I know. I had to cover it up.
Unreal.
It's
Love
good.
It.
Yeah.
Listen,
welcome,
congrats
man.
on the show.
Thank you.
I'm really excited to be on it.
Thanks, man.
Also, congrats on your People's Choice Award.
Yeah.
Here in Boston.
Everybody thought that was a joke, but it's not a joke. I am the People's Choice Award winner.
I actually thought it was a joke as well.
It was not a joke.
But apparently it's legit.
Yeah, it's legit. It was a write-in vote. And when they announced it, I was just like, let's just fucking get all of my friends to vote, get my family to vote. I put it on Instagram. People were actually voting. And then I won.
It just shows the power of Marckie P.
The power of the beard.
Whoa! I have seen the power of the beard in action.
Yeah, it's a thing.
I don't know if we're gonna get into that during
this
current episode, but I've definitely seen the power of the beard.
There's some like magic that happens, like 4 or 5 tequilas in, the beard just takes over.
I'm sorry. This is your show. No, it's not my show.
No, it's our show now.
But you should do an episode that is purely the power of the beard.
Yeah, maybe I can. I could probably do that.
Because I could tell 4 or 5 stories about the beard. I'm sure you have 112 stories about your beard.
Lots of people want to touch it. It's kind of weird.
Oh, I've seen some things happen.
Kind of weird.
Yes, that's what I was sort of getting at.
This thing belongs to me still.
It does.
It doesn't belong to it belongs to the people now. Now that I'm people's champ.
You are the people's
champ. To the people.
Yes, you are.
So, man, how's your quarantine been? What's new? What's going on?
It's been interesting. You know, I think if anything, the way I like to describe the last 9 months is the biggest roller coaster you could ever be on.
Yeah.
On a number of different levels. There are lots of highs, lots of lows.
Right.
I think in terms of thinking about the things that have been really good, I've had this amazing time with my family, with my wife and my 3-year-old daughter, Ava. And
shout out to Jamie and Ava.
Yeah, and I would have never had that. previous to sort of COVID, I worked 80 hours a week and was traveling and at shows and things of that effect. So that time has been amazing. The summer was just, we have a pool, and I think we got more use out of the pool this summer than we have in 8 years prior. So
having a pool is huge in the summer, man. My parents have a pool. I would just roll out of bed, walk downstairs, jump on a pool float, and just lay there for all day.
What did you call it? What was your pool again?
A Picard Beach.
The Picard Beach.
Yeah, Picard Beach.
Yeah, I never made it over to Picard Beach.
That's where the magic happens.
Unfortunately.
Actually, it's just me laying on a pool float.
Yeah, that's probably why I never.
That's the only thing that happens there. You got a smoker.
I did. I did a lot of grilling this summer. I just recently got a smoker. Yeah. So I've enjoyed lots of meats.
Yeah.
For sure.
I came to your house that one afternoon, and I had the meat sweats.
Oof, that
Wings.
was a
Jeez.
Yeah, that was a full meat fest that we had going on that day.
You fired it up.
Well, I appreciate it. I've spent some time.
You're like awkwardly good at cornhole, and it kind of upsets me.
Well, here's the thing. Cornhole is kind of like golf for me, right?
Okay.
Like once you're on and you're hitting good shots, it's amazing.
That's fair.
I've had some days where I literally can't get in the hole to save my life.
Yeah, that's where I was at playing at your house. I was talking all this shit. I'm like, I'm the best to ever do it. Wake it up, baby. I'm using all my fucking catchphrases, and then I get skunked. I didn't win one game.
You literally got your ass handed to you.
I went into that game like I was a WWF wrestler.
Correct.
I was like, I had entrance music. I almost ripped my shirt off to expose stuff that nobody wants to see. And I was just using every catchphrase I could find. And then I got my ass kicked.
You had the belt.
Yeah, I was just in there.
And that belt lasted about 0.2 seconds before you got your ass handed to you.
Record time I lost.
Yes.
It was bad.
You also had the most awkward throw I've ever seen in my life.
I throw overhand. I don't think that that's legal if you play in like a professional league, but since I'm not a professional, I throw overhand. And I'm pretty accurate, except that day. I could not dial it.
Oh, it was bad. It was actually fun.
I was dog shit.
You don't usually talk a lot of shit.
I also stepped in dog shit.
You did.
Not only was my shot dog shit, I stepped in dog shit.
You stepped in dog shit.
Almost ruined a whole pair of Yeezys.
I do remember that.
It is what it is, you know?
So we've come full circle from dog shit to quarantine.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's been
welcome to the Marckie P
welcome,
show.
welcome to the Marckie P show. Let's go. It's been a roller coaster. You know, I think the good parts, obviously, being able to take a step back and, you know, actually enjoy time at home and enjoy, you know, some things that I didn't get a chance to do. And like you said, cooking and things of that effect. You know, on the flip side, obviously, my business and our business is event-based and talent buying based. So, you know, it's I think in the beginning of this, we all thought it was going to last a couple months and we'd be back. Yeah. And there was a lot of start stop, I think you would say. Yeah. You know, I think the first 2 months was a lot of rescheduling, and then we had to reschedule again. Yeah, reschedule the reschedule. And then to reschedule the reschedules, and then it got to a point where it was like, okay, this is we're just spinning our wheels with the reschedules. You know, so I think that was tough to deal with, you know, sort of mentally, and just in general with our industry. I will say, obviously, you know, we had news last week about the vaccine and rolling out. Yeah. And I think we're sort of all looking forward to potentially getting back to work at some point. Yourself included. Yeah. You know, you had this. You know, you are the People's Choice. I am award winner, and you need to show the people. I need to show the people me why you were voted that. That's right. Like no one's really seen it since March. That's true. That's true. But I'm showcasing the little skill that I have right now in a podcast. This is true. It's a different skill. It's a different skill. It's little. What's little? My skill. Okay. Obviously my skill. I thought you just admitted that on the show. I mean, whatever. Yeah. I mean, shit happens, man. Once you put a microphone in front of you, like everything just falls right off the rails. Does it really? Yeah. It's like word vomit? It's word vomit. You don't care? Nah. You'll let anything go? I mean, pretty much. Okay. Pretty much. I mean, my parents are listening, so don't put me on the spot here. Oh, boy. All right. Shout out to my fam. Oh, the shout-outs. Yeah, how about the shout-outs? Yeah, we decided that if we shouted out every single person that wants a shout-out, we'd be here for 8 days. Correct. It would just be a show of shout-outs. It'd just be, the Marckie shout-out show. Correct. But I think maybe there's an episode where I just shout everyone out. Oof, that could last a while. That would be lit. Yes, but then everyone wouldn't be mad at you. Hit my Venmo if you want to shout out. There you go. There you go. I'm linking the Venmo in the description. Or if you got an OnlyFans. Yeah, I mean, I'm already. You already. I knew you were supplementing your income somehow. There's got to be, you know, there's a Thicc boy market, you know. Oh, I'm in that Thicc boy market. I'm right there with you. I'm built for comfort, not speed. Is that the tagline on your OnlyFans? That's it. I'm built for comfort, not speed. Dude, if you got on OnlyFans as a thick boy with that beard, I'd probably make $1. No, you wouldn't. You would crush it. Okay. Maybe I just gave you. Listen, I only want 20%. Okay. So you already took managerial duties of my OnlyFans. I only want 20% for the idea. Shit. That's it. Only. Oh, that's it. That's it. Oh, that's it. That's it. Nothing more? No, I'm not going to do anything for that. Okay. It's just the idea generation. Okay. Where the recurrent income. That's how it works. Correct. God yes. Damn it. Well, looks like I lost all my money. You're going to make $2. I'll take the $2. Okay. Listen. That's fair. Yes. So, you know, let's dial this thing back a little bit. Go back. I know we're off the rails. We're off the rails. I love it though. Fuck yeah. I mean, that's what this is about. It's just like, just go for it. But I do want to get to how you started in the music industry. Okay. How you left mortgages during the mortgage crisis, kicked in the head, said, fuck this, I'm out. And then you create this amazing company that I worked for, my first ever job in entertainment, NV Concepts. How did all of that come together? Wow. That could take it's a deep question. It could take a little bit. I'll try to keep a condensed version of that. You know, I've my life has always been intertwined with music. My parents owned a musical instrument store growing up. I played the drums growing up. I played in bands for years throughout my teens. I played in the school band plus rock bands back in the grunge era. And then at some point I started to DJ. DJ Foos. Yes, DJ Foos. Love it. I'm now semi-retired, so my favorite DJ. Every once in a while, I'll come out and hit the wheels of steel. But I started to DJ, and that sort of supplanted my I didn't really play in the band anymore, and my love for music has always been there. I started to DJ. Shout out Randy Boyer, who taught me how to DJ. Yeah. So there's a shout out. Now people are going to get mad because now I started the shout out flood.
In trouble.
I'm in trouble now.
You're about to lose lots of friends.
Yeah. So I started to DJ, and that's what sort of got me, into the business. I did that for years, while still working, full-time jobs. And as you just alluded to, ironically, now in the last, that was 2008, 2009-ish, when we had literally a financial crisis similar to what we're having now, but it was a sector of business in terms of
not the world.
Well, it could have been the world. It could have been the world because if all of those banks failed, the world would have failed, right?
Yeah,
so
good point.
A couple of those banks, I happened to work for one Lehman Brothers who went under, right? And when one of those massive institutions goes under, there's a ripple effect, and they realized that they needed to stabilize those. Right. But yes, I worked in the mortgage business for about 2 years, 2.5. Well, actually, it strung out to about 3 years. I worked for 4 bankrupt companies during that time.
Damn.
I will say the beginning of it was the most lucrative time of my entire life.
Yeah.
I mean, it was insane. I left a corporate job to go into the mortgage business, and this is kind of an interesting story. One of my best friends was working in this business, and he basically sent me a picture of his pay stub for the month, and it was what I was making in a year.
You're like, let's fucking do this.
I was like, I finished my master's. I had a great job at a Fortune 500 company, and I said, all right, let's go. So it was a sales job, and little did I know I was contributing to the subprime mortgage crisis that potentially crumbled our financial institutions and country. But anyway, basically when that was starting to wind down, after the 3rd or 4th bankrupt company, I knew this, it wasn't coming back. I started to DJ again. I didn't really, when I was working so much in the mortgage business, I didn't get a chance to DJ very much. Right. I missed it. I loved it. I started to DJ, clubs and things to that effect again, like I used to. And I hooked up with my guy, Rich.
Yeah.
Rich.
Another shout out to
Good Rich.
Old Rich, Dicky Hutch.
He was the guy that was out, everybody loved, and was out, 6 nights a week. I was the guy that was the DJ and, had sort of, thoughts around a business. And, we basically started to do parties together, taking over, restaurants.
Unreal.
And, it was pretty cool in Western Massachusetts, which, is not exactly the hot spot of entertainment in the world. And it just started to take off from there. Interesting story about Rich. The first meeting we ever had, I've known him forever, and he's always been known as Dick or Dicky.
Yeah.
30 seconds before we're getting into this first meeting, trying to land our first deal, I looked at him. I was like, I can't call you Dick or Dicky. I can't refer to you as Dick. Like, hey, this is my partner, Dick or Dicky, right? So at that point, he was forever Rich, at that point. Because everybody had called him Dick and Dicky, and then he, sort of transitioned into the Rich phase of his life at that point. Because there's no way I was going to go into meetings and be like, "Hey, this is Dicky.
This is Dicky.
This is Dicky.
This is Uncle Dicky."
Well, Uncle Dicky's a different.
Uncle Dicky's a whole different.
That's an episode for you right there.
Yeah, that's a full episode. So what did it feel like to bring back quality entertainment to Western Mass? I mean, that's where I've grown up, and it's always kind of been dry. And early on in NV, you bring in Sam Adams. Which is a show that I worked and sold tickets out of essentially a shoebox. It was a sauna.
Yeah, I've never seen you sweat so much.
Yeah, I've actually never sweat that much since then. It's gross.
Really?
It was disgusting.
10 years ago.
Yeah, it was gross.
The most sweat ever.
It was fucking awful. And I've never said this to you, but Tim, I almost quit that day.
You should have quit. And you know what? We all should have quit that day.
I almost was just like, look, man, I'm sweating. I've got 9 different shirts I've gone through today, 3 pairs of underwear. I'm working with this beautiful girl, Kristen. I probably smelled so bad. And here I was selling tickets to Sam Adams in a sweatbox. Yeah,
we definitely didn't adhere to labor laws back then.
Yeah, no, that was not a thing.
No. I mean, you didn't even get paid, first of all.
No, I didn't.
You didn't get paid, and we made you sweat a tremendous amount. I mean, that was our first concert.
You did supplement me with Bud Lights, so that's kind of cool.
Oh, there's been plenty of supplemental Bud Lights and income throughout the years, for sure. But we definitely weren't paying anyone that first show. But kind of interesting story about, that was our first concert, right? So we were doing nightclub stuff and You know, all kinds of stories we can talk about. Maybe at another time. You know, we actually ran a nightclub in Springfield. Did Pauly D's first ever appearance after the first season of Jersey Shore.
I was there. That was fucking crazy.
Banana Land.
It was crazy.
The show ended, and we had the Saturday night after the first season ended, and it was just ridiculous.
Yeah, it was bonkers.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a line down the street. It was just crazy.
Unreal. And Pauly, we ate dinner with Pauly in a strip club. He ate a steak dinner at a strip club that night.
No, that's a night.
Yeah, he'll never forget that.
That's
for sure.
a night.
Pauly D eating a steak in a strip club.
That's just fantastic.
Yeah. Now the rest is history with him.
Yeah, for sure.
So anyway, we transitioned from, you know, sort of nightclub things into, you know, hosting our first actual concert. Yeah. And, you know, Sam Adams was sort of the first guy. You mentioned Kristen. So Kristen is a friend of ours. You know, Kristen and a friend of hers came to us a number of times and said, listen, we love this guy, Sam Adams. You should check him out. I had no idea who he was. And then we saw some footage of him at a festival called Bamboozle Festival in New Jersey. And there was literally like 10,000 girls screaming. I was like, this is insane. Like, he obviously has a fan base. You know, right. He was from Boston. So we decided to book him. I borrowed $5,000 from a credit card. That's how I did my first show ever in the history. So people who think that they can't do this, you know, because their funds aren't there, sometimes you just got to take risks, right? Like, that's just how it goes. Borrowed $5,000 to book Sam Adams. It was a huge payday for him. I look back at it now, and it was like, I probably should have paid the guy $1,000 at that point. But, you know, it was our first show, and I'll never forget, you know, because we've booked probably 3,000 plus shows since then. I'll never forget I sent that offer, and I think I followed up with the agent like every other day.
Just checking in.
Just checking in.
Hey, man, how's your day? How are the kids? How's life?
Yeah, just checking in.
How's that offer?
Yeah, how's that going? And
how's your lunch today? How's that offer? Like, what the fuck, dude?
I look back at it now, and the guy probably was like, this dude has nothing else going on in his life. Does he realize that I have 6,000 offers that I'm dealing with? And here's this dude for one dude, you know, the Sam Adams show, just, you know, following up. So I look back at it, and it was a learning experience. So we do that show at a place called the Hippodrome, which was closed at that time.
Yeah.
And what we found was this was right when Facebook advertising was Facebook marketing and events and things to that effect. It was at the dawn of Facebook advertising. So we put up the event, and the event went nuts. Right? Like, people, I think the event had like 6,000 attending, and, you know, just went nuts. And people came, kids, you know, when I say kids, 15 to 18 years old, came from all over New England to see the show. And we realized we sort of had something. Like, wow, we can put a show together in a place like Springfield, in a defunct venue. The theater, you know, and we did well. We made a fair amount of money that night. You know, the show went well.
Right.
And that was sort of the dawn of, you know, what was NV Concepts at that time.
Yeah. That was man, for me, when I look back at that show, it's like, you know, especially in the hometown, you look around and you're just like, what the fuck what just happened here? You know, it's that moment of like pure joy and excitement when you put on a show like that. And it's the first one, but, you know, it sells out or whatever, you know, whatever the numbers were that night. And you're just like, I can't believe I just did this. You know what I mean? That's got to be, especially coming from you, a guy who essentially put up his every dollar he had at the time to put a show on, you know, to look back and just be like, fuck, man, that was huge.
It was, you know, and that's where I say, like, sometimes taking a risk. I mean, we could have done that show and lost $10,000 and we'd be out of business. Right? Like, and that was that. We believed in it enough. We promoted it enough. We had sort of this feeling. And again, it was before, it was 10 years ago. So it was before this time of really knowing how people were going to buzz on, you know, social media and things like right now it's like dudes release a song and within 0.2 seconds you just know, right? And then now all of a sudden they want $20,000 to come host for a song because they have one song that's hot.
Yeah.
Back then it took a little while to matriculate in terms of the virality of that. And what we found really early on was we were able to capture that. And after that show, what we did was we focused on sort of that backpack hip hop era.
Right. Mac Miller, Kid Cudi,
Wiz Khalifa.
Wiz Khalifa, Black and Yellow, man, that was just cheese. I think, didn't you hold the record for, like, biggest attended show at the Mullen Center?
Yeah, we did him at the Mullen Center, and I'll never forget. He came in with his manager, and they looked at the Mullen Center and they were like, "Holy shit!" Like I just remember Will Zombach, who's his manager, coming in. He was on stage flying.
Yeah,
like he was going like this. I'll never forget that. And he was like, "This is insane." It was the biggest show to date that he had done. He was doing 1,000 cap clubs and doing very well. And yeah, I think we sold, I don't know, 5,000 tickets to that.
Yeah, I think the only other person that did that, very small artist, I think his name was Kanye West.
Yeah, very small.
Very small. I think he was the one who topped you, which is kind of crazy.
It is a little insane to think back at it. And, what we prided ourselves early on was just trying to find acts that were buzzing, with that demo of, 14 to 18-year-olds that like the Live Nations and the AGs and venues of the world weren't really onto yet, right? Like we were tapped into that. And, we were selling out all those shows. We sold out every Wiz Khalifa show. We did Big Sean. We sold out every J. Cole show. We sold out every Mac Miller show. It was this incredible start to a concert company.
Yeah.
Outside of the fact, and this story is interesting, and I don't know how many people know this story, but after we did our first show with Sam Adams, our second show was Kid Cudi.
Yeah, which, before you get into this,
yes,
was just crazy. It was him on stage with a microphone, and it was just nuts.
Electric.
It was, yeah. I have goosebumps on my arms right now. I was watching from the balcony, and I was like, this guy has more stage presence with just him and a microphone than any person I've ever seen in my life. Probably still.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
And you were there. He literally came in. He did interviews in New York that day. He came in out of an SUV. They mic'd him up, and within 2 minutes he was on stage. There was no time. He wasn't like chilling there and like preparing. He literally got out of an SUV that got back from New York, got on stage, did his thing, and went out. But the fascinating part about this story, and again, not a lot of people know this, but we were actually taken for $35,000. So we had a middle agent that we had originally booked the show with, who, took us. Like, we thought the show was booked. He got his money. Turns out the guy was a complete fraud. Kid Cudi's team had no idea about the show.
Jeez.
It again is one of those sort of moments of time where we could have just been sunk. Not only sunk, but like, there's $35,000 that I didn't, that I borrowed $5,000 to do the first show. So where was $35,000 coming from? We sold the show out. The show was sold out.
Yeah. And
he didn't even know it was happening.
That's fucking crazy.
And this whole time, Rich and I, we couldn't tell anybody, right? Like we couldn't tell you guys. We couldn't tell people that, hey, the show is sold out. We sold all these tickets to a show that we got taken on, right? Like the last thing I wanted to do was ruin our credibility. And with hip hop, when you book hip hop shows, like people book fake hip hop shows or guys don't show up. Like it was critical for us in those early stages to make sure that show happened. So we actually reached out to his agent and to Kid Cudi, and he happened to have the date open, and we 100% overpaid him to get there. I think we broke even on the show just to make sure that he got there, but man, thank God he actually had the date open. And it didn't turn into a complete...
That would have been a shit show.
Debacle.
That would have been bad. That would have been a terrible start.
Unbelievable. And again, not a lot of people know that story. And it's been 10 years now, so I'm a little more forthcoming with some of that information simply because it's in our past and part of sort of the fabric of who I am and who we built sort of as a concert company. But man, can you imagine, second show, you sell out your Sam Adams show, we booked this Kid Cudi show. We sold that out, I think, in 2 days. 2,200 tickets.
Crazy.
Sold out in 2 days, and we're on cloud nine. And then to realize that the show was never actually booked.
Yeah. It's scary. I mean, even looking back, I can see it in your face.
Man.
You're like reliving the scared moment of like not knowing.
Being a concert promoter is not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It is 100% not.
That's for sure.
You have to have balls of steel.
Yeah.
You have to live in a world of gray, and you have to be willing to accept situations in normal life that would literally just completely knock you mentally off your ass, right? So like, you know, when you lose, and it's happened to us, when you lose 20 grand, when you lose 25 grand, when you lose 100 grand, right? Like normal people would crawl in a hole.
Yeah, I'm thinking about crawling in a hole right now, losing 100 grand. Like I feel like I'm just gonna evaporate into the floor.
And
I lose $10 in the washing machine, and I'm like, "Fuck, man, this is the worst day of my life."
Is it change? Is it,
yeah. Just then you find it like 3 years later. You're like, "Oh, sweet."
You add up all the nickels.
Yeah, you're like, "Wow, I'm back."
I'm back, and now you have this beautiful
Now I have
face.
this, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's dude, you've been on the cusp of, you know, with the Kid Cudi stuff and the backpack hip hop, and you know, growing the NV brand. You also had this vision, and you're a big electronic music guy. You were bringing around, you know, guys that have never performed here, you know, guys like Hardwell, you know, guys like Avicii, and that leads me into, you know, the infamous Avicii story.
Oh boy.
Which still to this day blows my fucking mind.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
helicopters, fucking sold out shows. Like it sounds like the way that you're gonna explain it, and the way that I know the story makes it seem like it should just be a fucking Netflix movie. Like it should just be. It's like, oh, the biggest DJ in the world's not gonna make it. Let's get him a helicopter.
Let's
like
whatever you got to do.
if that's the first thought, it's like, holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, we started to transition into dance music. I mean, I've always loved it. When I DJ'd, I always played dance music. I went to UMass, and I can remember DJing at the Monkey Bar and playing. There was a lot of kids that went to UMass from New York, New Jersey, a lot of club kids, and I remember playing. You know, everything was called techno back then. No matter what it was.
Doesn't matter what it was.
It could be house. It could be whatever.
Even now, man. Even now, people just be like, "Oh, you're in the techno business." And it's like, "Oh yeah, because I'm fucking still in 1993."
It's still 1993.
It's still 1993. We're still fucking techno business.
Well, Eminem coined that with
with the
nobody listens to techno.
yeah.
Right? So people still call it, everything was techno. So I remember spinning techno. So, you know, I love hip hop. I love dance. I call it dance music. That's what I call it right now. And we started to transition, you know, into dance music, partially because a lot of the hip hop acts that we initially booked were almost untouchable a year later, right? So like trying to book Wiz Khalifa or J. Cole or Big Sean a year after we had them in these venues was impossible. Like the economics didn't work. They got picked up by Live Nation and AEG on massive tours. So we pivoted, and that's when dance music started to explode on college campuses.
Yeah.
And again, we were ahead of the curve on that. What was a big part of our success was being ahead of the curve. And, you know, the good part about dance music is those guys are loyal, right?
Yeah,
so
oh my God, yeah.
The difference in hip hop is they weren't loyal, right? Like we had done all those Wiz Khalifa shows and Mac Miller shows. Once they got a massive check, they were like, go fuck yourself, right?
Who's paying me more?
Who's paying me more? Like I just got this massive, you know, deal. And we couldn't even get cut into those shows. It was unreal.
Yeah.
When I look back at it, and we were just left in the dust. We had done 25, 30 hip-hop shows, you know, broke these guys in the markets, and, you know, we're just left in the dust. And I was like, we can't have that happen to us. We won't be a company.
Right.
So in dance music, you know, we started to transition over to dance music. And before we get to the Avicii story, there's actually a funny story about one of the first dance music sort of hybrid shows that we did.
Yeah.
We had this idea. There was this act called Lmfao.
Lmfao, yeah.
At the time.
Shot. Sorry, my voice is fucking shot.
You're shot. Well, it is. It's Monday morning. We should, you know.
Yeah.
You should switch this to Thursday so we can do
So we
shots.
can actually do shots.
Just straight shots.
Yeah.
Thursday shots with Marckie P.
Thursday shots with Marckie P.
Love it. So Lmfao, this is before they had blown up.
Yeah.
They were, I think, I'm in Miami, bitch, was, you know, but it was kind of underground. It wasn't pop. Like, that was, like, the song that...
That was a techno song?
It was a techno song that all the techno DJs were playing at the techno clubs.
The discotheque.
Back in the 90s. And then there was this also little-known DJ called Steve Aoki.
Never heard of him.
And this is 2010, 2011. We had this crazy idea to take, you know, Lmfao and Steve Aoki together, put them together at a show, and we called it Lmfaoki.
I mean, let's be honest, the marketing there is fucking genius.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Steve's a great guy.
He's an amazing dude. You know, we hadn't done any shows with him to that point, but it was sort of like, all right, hey, let's bridge the gap. Let's throw a party on a college campus at UMass. Like, let's do this. Here are 2 huge party acts. Like, let's go. Well, all of our success in hip hop had led us to think, oh, you could just put these things together and they'll sell out, right? Yeah, no problem.
No biggie.
Just put it together, pay a couple deposits, it'll sell out, you'll be rolling.
If you post it, they will come.
If you post it, they will come. Well, up until that point, we had done very well with most of our shows. We had a couple of little speed bumps, but we put that show up. The marketing was, I think, amazing. Lmfao, Aoki. And unfortunately, I think we sold 800 tickets in a 4,000 capacity venue.
Damn.
And we were underwater, I don't know, $80,000. We were looking at the spreadsheet.
Something light.
And we were involved actually in that show. And part of moving to dance music, again, we said this shout out things, but Adam Lederman, Massey MC, Will Saltis, and Bobby were part of that show as well in terms of like the formation of moving into the dance music space. And they were part of that show. And I remember calling Adam and basically being like, dude, we are like $80,000 from break even. We're like a week away from the show. I'm like, what are we going to do? Like, we're tortured. It's not clicking. So we ended up canceling the show. And the agents were nice enough to all these shout outs. I keep going with shout outs. One of the agents was Ricky Greenstein at that time back in the day, and they were nice enough to sort of let us off the hook. We had to pay some expenses for LMFAO. The venue was nice enough. And then we actually took Steve and we did him at a very small venue, Pearl Street in Northampton. Yep. Sold that show out and just did the Steve show. So the moral of the story is 2 months later, Party Rock Anthem.
Oh man.
Well, here's the thing. The show I think was in January. The record had come out, but it hadn't blown up. Right. 2 months later, Party Rock Anthem is the #1 song in the entire universe.
They had like a dance and shit.
Unreal.
It's used in a Kia commercial.
They went on a summer tour and I think sold out like 10,000 person venues by themselves. Like, we missed it by like 2 months.
That's fucking brutal.
And, I look back at that and it's, again, it's one of those scenarios we got out of. We lost some money, but it wasn't horrible. But one of those scenarios where, again, taking that risk of, hey, let's put these 2 acts together, was probably a little too forward thinking sort of at the time.
Yeah.
So that was sort of our first foray into dance music. We started to do more dance music, but the Avicii story, so getting to that. So we had done a show in Philadelphia at the Naval Yard down there, which was just very big, open, very old space, which was going to be demolished like a week later.
Yeah. Oh, hey, by the way, you're going to do a show and we're just going to knock this motherfucker right down.
Just going to knock it down. Yeah. Just like this will be the last thing.
Last show. See ya. Have fun.
Peace out.
Gone.
Yeah. And, at that venue, it was, it was big open space. And quite honestly, we had not dealt with all the venues we dealt with were real venues. It wasn't like okay, let's just take a Naval Yard and make a show. And there are a lot of things that aren't there. So it was a bit of a shit show, to put together. We had a partner in the local market, who, I'm not going to shout him out. I won't give any shout outs to him at all, but we did have a partner down there that, helped market the show and did really well. And Avicii at that time was just starting, Levels was just starting, right?
Levels was like ground level,
literally. It was ground level.
Yeah. Pun intended.
Yeah. That show sold out, I think, 4,000 tickets. And, we're in this Naval Yard. We had to build out the sound, build everything out. And first off, there were a couple things that could have gone disastrous. First off, there was 4,000 kids outside of this venue, and there was just not enough organization to get them in.
Right.
I remember looking, they had these huge doors. They were like 15 feet high wooden doors. And I remember looking and watching those start to cave in. They're, I'm on the inside and watching these doors cave in. Like, these kids are going to riot and push these doors down, and someone's going to die, right?
Someone's going to get hurt if we don't hurry this up.
Yeah, and again, it was never organized enough, and it was early days for us, and part of our expertise wasn't necessarily like logistics of ticketing, right? Like that wasn't what we did, and we learned a lot from that. But I remember going up to the front. There was ticket takers, and I was like, you know what? I was like, don't scan their tickets. I was like, let everybody in.
Yeah. Open the doors up.
I was like, take their ticket. Sure, if they have one. If they don't, I don't care. Like, literally, if we don't get these kids in, if we don't get these people in, there will be a riot, and it will take 4 hours to get them in. So I made that executive decision. I'll never forget, there was probably 4 or 5 people. Think about it, 4 or 5 people with old school ticket scanners.
Yeah, those ticket scanners were awful.
You've done that.
Those things were, I've done every job, I think, in the history of the entertainment industry.
You really have.
And now I'm a performer.
You're now a performer.
That's it. I've made it full circle. I can just quit.
OG, Marckie P.
Yeah.
I still can't get over this. Like,
I was fucking ticket scanning. Man, yeah, ticket scanning.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Driver of the stars.
That too.
Yes. Security of the stars.
Security of the stars. Yep. Continue. This is fucking fantastic.
Can we just like hype up Marckie P?
People's Choice Award.
People's Choice.
People's Champ. But back then, I was scanning tickets.
You were scanning tickets.
I was just a little simpleton back then. I was just a little plebe.
You were never a plebe. Come on now.
No, I wasn't a plebe.
No, you're never a plebe.
Yeah.
You were always a major cog.
That's true.
That's true. Wheel of the machine.
Yes.
We could not have done it without you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
1,000%.
Yeah, it was.
There isn't anybody that worked harder and was more dedicated from the very beginning than Marckie P.
Thank you, man.
Shout out, Marckie P.
Let's go, baby.
At least you're right here. I don't have to worry about people yelling at me for not doing shout outs.
That's true.
So to get to the rest of the story, we finally got everybody in. And I'll never forget, I got a call from the agent. And he was like, Tim, I've got some bad news for you. I was like, it's like 9 o'clock.
That's always a good fucking
Oh, it's not a good start. It's like 9 o'clock. He's supposed to be on at 10. He's not there, right? Agent calls me and goes, so Tim, we've got a little bit of a problem. Got some bad news. What's that? Well, Tim, who, his name is Tim, Avicii, is stuck on the tarmac at DC, and they're not letting him fly. So he's in DC, and he couldn't get off the plane. He couldn't go anywhere. They were just stuck for like an hour on the tarmac. Now, DC is not that far from Philly, right? No. And
a few hours.
I'll never forget this. I hung up the phone, and I said, okay. And I told the sort of co-promoter, the local kid, what was going on. And he went ballistic. He threw a chair. He like literally had a meltdown.
Threw a chair.
Oh yeah. Oh, it was bad.
Yikes.
He had a meltdown, and and that's where those, again, one of those moments, like, number one, as a professional and a person, that you just you woosah, like you say, okay, let's deal with this, right? Like, we have 4,000 people here, all screaming, ready to go. We have a performer that's stuck on the tarmac. Like, what can we do? Got on my computer, Googled a couple of helicopter companies, got on the phone. The first one I called said, yeah, we don't have a helicopter anywhere near DC. Sorry. The second one I called, the guy was like, yeah, we actually have one ready. Like, we have one in DC. If you can get him on, we can get him there sort of within, at least an acceptable amount of time to get him there. And then I remember calling the agent back and going, yeah, so it's $2,000 for a for a helicopter.
Surprise.
And he's like, you're paying for it. And I was like, huh? I'm not. I was like, fuck you. You're paying for it. Yeah. This is like classic banter, like between agent and promoter, where you argue about stuff. And we argued for a couple minutes. He's like, well, you have a sold out show. What are you gonna do? And I was like, well, you have a sold out show. What are you going to do? Like literally, it was like
two little kindergarten kids. Just, you shut up. No, you shut up. It's like, okay, great. We're getting somewhere.
Eventually we settled and we split it, and we split the costs. And he got there, and I'll never forget, he was so green back then. He hadn't done a lot of shows in the U.S., hadn't done a lot of larger shows, and he was so nervous, going on, and I'll never forget, he did the show, was incredible. The energy was just absolutely off the charts. Like, you knew that this kid was going to, I call everybody kids. I don't know why.
They're all younger than you.
They are, but I don't know. I shouldn't call everybody a kid all the time.
Young man.
Yeah. I mean, you've been a kid forever, even though you've looked 45 since I've known you.
Tim, this is what you've done to me.
Yes.
You've aged me.
Yeah. I've a couple of those gray hairs are,
This whole section, this whole right side of my face belongs to you.
There's the Tim strands.
These are all the Tim grays.
All right, there they are.
That side.
I'm glad I contributed to this.
Yeah, you did. You contributed.
It wouldn't look like this if it wasn't for me, apparently.
That's true. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, who knew?
Fucking who knew?
So he does the show. It's electric, and then I'll never forget, man, the entire crowd chanted Avicii, Avicii, Avicii for like 5 straight minutes when he was done. And I looked at him and I was like, dude, you got to go back up for an encore. And he didn't know what an encore was. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, they want more. They want you to go back on stage and play more songs. He was so green that he just didn't even know at that point what an encore was.
Right.
You know, he went up, played like 2 or 3 more songs. The crowd went absolutely wild. One of those shows that was just like, you know, why I do what I do and why I love what I do, regardless of you know, the highs and lows and losing money and the stress and everything that goes through it. It's why you do what you do, right? You get a chance to see somebody absolutely shine and know that, and you contributed to that, and then contributed to people having an experience. Like, people that were there will never forget that experience.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what has always driven me and Rich and everybody else that's been involved with Envy and now with Big Night as well. It's what drives all of us to, you know, produce the best shows where people walk away going,
Yeah.
that was an experience.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I miss that about these COVID times, right?
Yeah,
Like,
there's no better feeling than standing on stage, looking out into a crowd of people that are having the time of their life, and you being like, I had a little bit to do with this, or I had a lot to do with this, you know, in your case, or just a small moments like that, man. You take them, obviously now, you look back and you're just like, wow, I think I took a lot of those for granted.
yes.
You know, like to be able to look out at 5,000 people, or being at Big Night Live and looking out at the sold out crowd, you know, you're just like, this is just fucking incredible. But, you know, we're in a time now where looking back and having these stories sets us up for what's coming next, you know, like the vaccine, and then we're back to work and we're fucking, woo.
And we're going to be working, dude.
We're going to be working.
We're going to be working.
Working.
I mean, 8 days a week.
I'm doing 6 shows a day.
You're going to be doing 6 shows a day. I don't even know how the Marckie P show is going to survive.
I'm just going to walk around with a mic.
You should.
I'm just going to strap myself up with a mic, and I'm just going to walk around everywhere and just interview people.
Perfect.
They're gonna
I mean,
like,
you're going to have the
ultimate.
ultimate.
Like, where's the hospitality? I'm just going to be like, look, man, I've got to interview somebody first.
Sorry, don't you know that I have my own like rider? Like,
You know, there's a 7-Eleven across the street.
yeah, I don't. Erica Badu. Sorry, hold on. Give me a second here.
Give me a second here.
I gotta do my show, Erica.
I've got to interview your TM. Hold on.
Yeah, hold on. So that's the Avicii story. Definitely one of those defining moments. And then you know, we went on to do, I don't know, 12 to 14 shows in like all these obscure markets, like Albany, New York, and UNH, and like, you know, all these, like, you know, it was a game of risk for us back then, where we were trying to get as many markets, you know, sort of on the East Coast and Northeast. And we probably grew a little too fast, too quickly. You know?
I mean, well, you know, a show that in an obscure market for us, I guess, you know, was Syracuse shows with David Guetta.
Oh boy.
Where you meet Alex from the Chainsmokers, and he's, you know, no, was it Drew?
It was Drew.
Drew.
Yes.
It's Drew.
He was Dan Conia.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was a great name. Not really.
No, terrible
really.
name. Terrible
Not
name.
really.
Thank God he graduated from Danconia and moved on to become part of the Chainsmokers.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that show was just, I mean, Alesso and David Guetta.
it was Alesso, Rehab,
Yeah.
David Guetta, and Drew from the Chainsmokers, Danconia.
Yeah.
Yes. In Syracuse, Winter White Tour.
Winter White Tour.
You know, we took that show on the road, did 3 markets with David Guetta, who had never done these types of shows, college shows. We did like Syracuse, Albany, and UMass, right? Like, you know, college shows. He at that time, you know, he had some of the biggest records in the world at the time with like Nicki.
Still does.
Well, he was doing like hip hop crossover, like the Nicki Minaj song, and he literally like Flo Rida, like he was doing those records that were big on the radio. But the issue that we had with that run was, you know, at that time, people didn't, especially in college, didn't associate him as like a cool DJ. Like Avicii and, you know, Tiesto and these guys were DJs, and he was just some guy on the radio. And as big as David Guetta was, and the fact that he's been a DJ forever and was a legendary DJ, you know, the shows did okay. You know, they did not sell out, which was difficult, you know, for us to sort of deal with. Again, we keep talking about all this money we lost. I don't know. It's interesting. We did make some money along the way, but
a couple dollars, $2,
yeah. I mean, I'll never forget. We paid $50,000 a night just for the production,
which was unreal.
It was
so
unreal
for the time period, and you know, electronic music and people putting on these larger production shows. I mean, that production was great. He had that like the see-through LED wall.
Unreal.
It was like
it's unreal, and you know, I understand. They were like, listen, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna put on. It's same thing with Tiesto. You know, I'll never forget talking to Paul Morris when, you know, and same thing with David Guetta, who he's his agent. he always was of the mind, and I always respect the shit out of this. Like, if we're going to come in and do this, we're doing our show, right? Like, we're not going to come in and, not put on it. Like, people aren't going to be blown away, not want to be blown away by a Tiesto or David Guetta show. So, we spent a lot of money on that production. Looking back, it was very early days for us. We weren't doing a lot of shows. We didn't have the connections. LED was almost impossible to source back then. We did that run of shows. We lost 6 figures, in 3 days.
Oof.
But one of the stories I'll never forget, and you were part of this too. David was sick.
Yeah.
Did you drive him to the doctor?
I did all of their transports.
Talk to me about that. What was that like?
I mean, working with them was great. I had my primary there was Alesso, and I took Alesso to a Hooters in West Springfield. He's just like, we leave UMass, and we're going to Rhode Island, Providence, Rhode Island. And he's just like, what do you and your friends do on Fridays? I was just like, man, we go to Hooters and get drunk. He was just like, what's Hooters? I was just like, well, it's a chicken restaurant. He was just like, okay, let's go.
A chicken restaurant.
And then
that's how you described Hooters to Alesso?
I didn't want to tell him because I knew, like, he's going to be like, no, we're not going to go there, Like, I don't know. He's not from here. He's from Sweden, So it's like
they do have Hooters in a different sense in Sweden.
Do they?
Well, not Hooters as in Hooters,
yeah,
but like Hooters as in Hooters.
I was unsure, so I was just like, yeah, it's a chicken restaurant. We just go there and drink beer. And he walked in, and it's just all girls. And he met one of the waitresses who just so happened to be a friend of mine through the girl I was dating at the time, and he invited all of them to the show. So I had a guest list of every Hooters waitress in West Springfield, Massachusetts.
Sick.
Yeah. So.
Sick.
And then we do that show, and we have the David Guetta show, and he's sick. We have to call him a doctor.
He wouldn't go to the hospital. I remember
the hospital.
I remember getting the call, and they're like, he won't go to the hospital. We had to find a private doctor.
Yeah, I was sitting in my hotel room, literally like, I mean, you had to have been stressed, but I was looking for a doctor. I'm like, how do I get what is a house call doctor? I'm like, do they even do this? Is this a thing? Like.
So you helped with that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sweating right now just thinking about it because I was like, what if we don't get him a doctor? What if he doesn't perform? Like, where are we? What happens? Like, that was the first of its time for me. And, super early on in my career, I just like, what the fuck do you do?
What do you do?
You learn how to troubleshoot really, really quickly.
Yes.
You learn how to problem solve very fast.
And without panic.
Without panic.
If you panic, other people see it and it spreads and then everything's a disaster.
Yeah. But we ended up, luckily, we ended up getting him a doctor, and he does the show, not at 100%.
No, he was rough. I remember he came in.
He's standing in the DJ booth, man, and his security guy Pascal at the time.
Pasquale, who went on to be the security guard for
Kim K and Kanye.
Yes.
He is just a giant, awesome human. He was
unbelievable guy.
He's literally one of the nicest guys, and he's just like, look, man, I just need you to keep giving me all of these Gatorades. Like, David Guetta might have drank 30 Gatorades.
Yeah.
Like, one after the other, water. I'm like, man, he's struggling. Like, you know how you get that time where it's like, I don't really feel well. I don't really feel like doing this. I don't feel great. Like, you could look at him and just be like, this isn't one of those moments where he's having just a stomach ache.
No.
Like, he was struggling.
He was in rough shape.
But to his credit, he went on and put a show on.
You would never have known, right?
You would have never have known. No. If you were in the crowd watching the show and you're looking at David Guetta, you're like, he's having the time of his life. He's fucking killing it. His set was fire back then. But behind the scenes, we're all like peering around the corner, looking through the fucking, curtains going, is he going to finish the show?
Is he going to make it?
Is he going to make it? And like the true showman that he is, just fired through that show.
Slayed it.
And then sprinted into the SUV, and I drove him back to the hotel.
Yes. Yeah, we
sprinted.
He
he took a couple pictures too.
He did take some
which
pictures.
Is just crazy. I would have been like, sorry guys, I would have high-fived you and just been like, I got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Like, this is bad.
And then I think it was the next night. I'll never forget this conversation as well. As one of those, again, defining moments of why you do what you do. I remember trying to sort of have them understand why the shows didn't sell out. Like he was like top 5 in the world, had #1 songs, platinum selling songs, and they were like, dude, why aren't these selling out, right? And part of it was, again, bridging the gap between David Guetta, the pop artist, to David Guetta, the DJ that's cool on college campuses. You also have to remember we were in Syracuse, New York, and
no real market
New
for us.
Like it wasn't in Boston, right?
Right.
Like we weren't in New York, like we weren't in major markets, so that definitely contributed to it. But we had like probably a 35-minute conversation after the last show, and I'll never forget sort of talking to him about the fact that a lot of college kids don't look at him as a DJ, which is weird for me to be talking to David Guetta about, who's been a DJ forever and an amazing DJ, and saying, it's sort of about bridging the gap between your radio records and having that like sort of club cred, that DJ cred that kids are going to want to come see.
Right.
And I'll never forget this. We had this 35-minute conversation. He looked at me at the end in his French accent, and I can't.
Boy. You gonna try it?
I'm hit or miss with accents, Marckie. I either nail them right away, or they're terrible. And he said, "Tim,
okay.
Voulez-vous coucher avec quoi?" No, he didn't say that. But I had to warm up. I had to warm up the French. Voulez-vous coucher avec quoi? Tim, let me tell you, you motivate me.
Yeah.
That's what he said to me. And to have one of the biggest DJs in the world say that I motivated him to make some changes around sort of what he was doing. And I think, after that, he started like another label that would have like club records and underground records. And he definitely, started to sort of meld the two versus like, hey, let me take the biggest hip hop act in the world and make a record and expect people to come see me in the US.
Right.
Wow, how was that French accent?
I mean, it was decent. I
had to warm up with the.
It didn't suck. You went for it. Voulez-vous coucher?
I had to get Voulez-vous coucher avec quoi? Like I had to get that out first, because if I started with Tim, you motivate me. Like
now you sound like a Street Fighter little clip right when you pick your fighter. It's just like choose your fighter. It's like Tim, you motivate me. It's like the guy just stand there with his arms out ready to fight.
Player two, you motivate me.
Tim, you motivate me.
Tim, I want to fight you. Now.
Yeah.
Uppercuts, left and right.
Imagine if he just did a standoff with you right after that, and you're just like, all right.
Well, the interesting part was I was nervous about telling him these things, right? Like, it's not something you want to tell one of the biggest DJs in the world that, hey, guess what? It's not clicking here. I didn't quite say it like that, but it was... I did it in a
loving manner,
in a loving way, of, hey, here's why these didn't sell out. Like, number one, it's not clicking here. Number two, I spent a shitload of money on these shows.
I spent my house on this, man.
And the tickets were not cheap either, right? Like, we didn't have a $30 ticket. We would have sold the world out at $30. I think the tickets were $75. In hindsight, for what people got for $75, a David Guetta, a Lmfao, Rehab, Drew from the Chainsmokers with a ridiculous production. Yeah. It was well worth it at that time.
Looking back at that show, man, wow.
Yeah, wow.
What a lineup.
Yeah, it was...
Holy shit. Like, that's festival. That's festival stuff.
It really is.
That's stuff you can't put together now.
Oh, God, no.
You can't.
You want to talk about mortgaging? You're going to have to mortgage a block.
Just go to your neighbor's, knock on and say, hey, you mind giving me your house? Because I need to put a show on that has a lot of really cool people on it.
I'm picturing my neighbors who are like in their 60s, just knocking,
like you're a Girl Scout cookie deliverer,
knocking on the door. So Pat, I'm gonna put together this festival with David Guetta and Rehab and Lmfao.
Don't worry about it, Pat. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Just need you to mortgage your house.
Yeah, just need we got $100. You got $100,000 I can borrow?
Oh no, it's gonna be a full 200 per for the entire block.
That's just hilarious.
I'll never get that out of my head.
Just the thought of you walking to your neighbor and knocking on the door.
Knocking on my door to have them mortgage my house so that I can put a festival on.
I'm going to take a video of you doing that tonight.
That'd be great.
So we've done a lot of really cool shows, man. Fantasia being one of them. Also in kind of a market that wasn't the best for us. Syracuse, again.
Oh, we keep going back to Syracuse here.
And I'll tell you why I'm going back to Syracuse, because people think being on the road is like
the best thing ever.
Unicorns and rainbows and lots of fun, and everybody's getting drunk and having the best time of their life. It's
like a full-out orgy.
Yeah, it's just like there's a lot going on. There's just like things happening. Mom, don't listen to this. There's nothing happening.
There really isn't. That's the interesting part about it.
There's literally nothing happening, and you just work super hard. But what I will say is, after working all of these shows, being on the road, you don't always stay at the Ritz-Carlton. There's one.
Not always. You never stay at the Ritz-Carlton.
By the way, I've never stayed there.
Yes.
I stay at the Marriott if I get lucky.
That's like high class.
If I get lucky.
If you get lucky. Hyatt.
I remember us
Shout
doing
out Hyatt.
shout out to the Hyatt. I remember doing Fantasia in Syracuse, and which was a fantastic show. Cirque du Soleil meets dance music,
Before its
360
time.
stage, people fucking flying in the air. It was just beautiful. It was quite the experience. But my takeaway, unfortunately, after these amazing shows, was the fact that we stayed in a hotel in Syracuse where somebody had been murdered the day before. Like,
Oh, yeah.
the woman behind the desk looked at us like the only thing we've seen are people rolling out in like body bags. Like,
Correct.
and it was not the nicest hotel. So when people are just like, oh, you live the life on the road, it's fun. It's like, no, it's like a budget hotel everywhere you go, unless you're rich. And sometimes you just happen to stay in a hotel that had somebody murdered in it the night before.
Yeah, sometimes it just happens. You roll up and you wonder why there's no cars in the
Not
parking
a
lot.
single soul.
I remember pulling up, and I'm like,
was-
wow.
yeah.
I was like, wow, we got the hotel to ourselves. Look at this.
Yeah,
and then we walked
fun
in,
time.
and that lady was like, yeah, there was a murder yesterday here. And we're like, okay.
Okay, all right.
Hence why it was so cheap. Shout out Marcus for
Yeah.
booking the,
Yeah.
the cheapest hotel humanly possible.
With a murder. Like,
Yes.
you gotta, I think you have to like research that like before you go to the hotel.
Probably. You
I think
might
you just
want to like
have to
Google
yeah.
that hotel.
Local news.
For slain in at
budget
hotel.
You're like, maybe I
Maybe-
shouldn't stay. Maybe I shouldn't book my guys there.
Maybe not.
No, but we were there.
Oh. Marcus gonna be so mad that
think
was
we
his
stayed.
shout out during this, by the way.
Yeah, it's okay.
Shout out
we
Papi
love-
Marcus.
We love Papi
Yes.
Marcus. We love him. Yeah, that was a fun time. And I also want to talk about you getting yelled at by agents and managers. That's a thing. That's a thing. And one story strikes me, and it happened here in Boston during boys' night. You, Marcus, Papi Marcus, myself, Danic and Hardwell. We go to Gem.
Oh boy, yeah.
We go to Gem. We have a blast.
Gem, a former Big Night
Oh, that place was
venue,
just
like
electric.
like a club and a living room,
Yeah,
but like the most fun you could ever have in a living room.
yeah, and it was fantastic.
Yes.
And one night we were just covered in vodka, and I mean, I was soaked.
Yes.
My clothes were. I had to burn my clothes.
We were all soaked.
Yeah, it was gross.
Yeah, it was
Just
between sweat and alcohol.
And
we were
champagne sprays.
yeah,
and
we were-
just, and you got a call about the number one DJ in the world at the time
yes,
wearing a lampshade on his head.
yes, yeah. So the story goes, we had Danic, and ironically, I had him booked at a different venue.
Okay.
That was not Gem.
I don't think I knew this.
Oh yeah, a competitor's venue.
Okay.
At the time, this was sort of I was doing things with Big Night at Shrine, but I was doing stuff at the estate. But this was at a time when I was still doing things at other venues at the time, and there was a new venue opening up, and it wasn't ready yet. So I called Randy and said, listen, we have Danic. I'd love to put him somewhere, and he was like, fuck, let's put him at Gem. I'm like, all right, let's go. Like, and you got to remember, Danic at that time was pretty big as well.
Yeah, he was big.
He was big, and one of our those guys, Danic, Dyro, Hardwell, just dear friends of ours. We we grew up on the road with them. We did very early shows with all three of them. They're all sweethearts. They're all just amazing human beings. And so we Danic was cool with it. We moved the show to Gem, which was a living room. It is what it is. I think he was like the number 35 DJ in the world, and he's playing a living room. And then I'll never forget, Robert Hardwell called me. He's like, I think he was in Miami. He's like, I think I'm gonna come up and hang out.
Yeah.
All right, like let's go.
Fucking boys' night, baby. Here we go.
Let's
Wake
go.
It up.
Wake it up. Let's go. So Hardwell was coming, to the living room, and him and Danic ended up going back to back a part of the night. Like, you got to remember, at this time, Hardwell was the number one DJ in the world.
Yeah.
He wasn't just like some DJ. He was voted the number one DJ in the world, and he's playing in this club, and somehow, some way, he ended up with a lampshade on his head.
Yeah.
And I got the call the next day from the agent of, Tim, what? Why? I just remember. I remember him calling me, and he was just like, and he couldn't even get it out. He was just like, explain to me how, in the world, the number one DJ in the world shows up to your living room and plays for free.
For free. Yeah.
With a lampshade on his head, and then that's the picture I see the next day.
Oh, so good. It was so good.
Legendary night.
I mean, they were playing like reggaeton, they were playing hip hop, they were playing. It was that at that moment, I was like, I'm in a house party right now. This is a house party inside of a beautiful living room, like biggest DJs in the world. I'm covered in champagne. I'm like, this is the moment that I've been waiting for.
It was unreal.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was unreal. And, for me too, with Big Night, that was sort of a turning point. Obviously was heavily involved with Envy, and that was one of those where, our relationship with Randy and Ed and Joe started to grow, and where I felt like, they were always like, hey, whatever you want to do, man, we're here to do this. Yeah. And we were in a pickle because we had the show booked and the venue wasn't open, and the venue was like, oh, well, you're right. And like, I remember that. And that was sort of a transition into really working directly with Big Night, and obviously eventually, being employed and being a VP of talent with Big Night. But I'll just never forget sort of like, Randy's like saying to me, yeah, man, let's go. Let's have a good time.
Balls to the wall.
And that's what we're about here. We're about like putting on a good time, doing whatever it takes to do that, and having a party.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that was a party.
That was something. It
Unreal.
was special.
Electric.
It was electric would be the word.
We also that night got stuck on an elevator.
We did get stuck in an elevator.
We had 74 people on an elevator.
I was the one that ripped the doors open, me and Danic.
Oh, my God.
Me and Danic ripped the doors open to an elevator, and it was, we did put 7,000 people in the elevator.
There was way too many. The problem was nobody wanted to get left behind.
Nobody, yeah, because that's the worst. You're going to an after party, and the second that you stray from the group that's going to the after party,
you got luck.
The door to that hotel locks, and nobody's opening it back up for you.
No, they're not. No.
That's it. So you figure it out. You either run the staircase, which I'm not doing. I'm not running anywhere.
No, especially not these days.
No, you get an elevator, but that elevator, we put that one to the test. And
I thought we were going to get trapped.
We stalled it, yeah.
I really thought that was the end of the night. That we were, imagine that call from the agent next day.
Oh, my God.
Tim, not only did you put the number one DJ in a lampshade, but you also trapped him for 9 straight hours in an elevator. There was no room in that elevator.
No.
We squid. Well,
yeah.
I just remember
it was a sardine can.
You could not move in that elevator.
No. It was just, that was hilarious. And then we're all just standing in the lobby, and they're like, you broke our elevator. You're like, I didn't do anything.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It wasn't us.
Wasn't me.
Yeah, here's a lampshade.
Back then, I didn't have a big beard, so it's like I wasn't recognizable. I could just sneak right in and out. It's like,
oh, now you're the people's choice.
I'm
the
people's champ.
People's champ. You can't go anywhere now.
Yeah,
that's it. You're just super recognizable. Literally, like you have to check into hotels as what's the name?
Oh boy.
I don't know if we can reveal it.
Yeah, I don't think we can. I don't think we can.
Well, we won't reveal the name, but Tiesto used to check in under a different name to hotel, a specific name.
Fantastic.
He actually put out music under that name.
He did.
Yes.
He did. So maybe it's not a secret.
Well, maybe if people are searching his hotels, they would know that.
Well, we didn't sign any NDAs, so like we're not in trouble.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. This year in music has been strange. Obviously, with festival season not happening, Miami Music Week not happening. You're a guy who goes to Miami pretty much every year. How do you think that COVID has affected, the new electronic music that's come out? Do you think it's gotten enough attention? Do you think Miami Music Week really accentuates the fact that people are putting new music out? And what's your thought on that whole situation?
It's a great question, Mark.
Thanks, man.
I just wanted to say that like that.
Fuck yeah.
It's a great question, Marky P.
You just placed that question so delicately.
Very nicely. Very great transition, buddy.
Thanks, man.
Yes. Listen, I think for dance music especially, this has been an extremely difficult time. Part of the culture of dance music and how it becomes successful is people come together, right? They hear the music, they dance together, they go to a festival, they go to a show. You hear your favorite DJ play a record that you then fall in love with. That's all been gone, right? So I think, a lot of the artists have been doing what they can. There's the live streams, which, I think got old a little bit after a while.
Yeah.
And, people are putting out music, but it doesn't quite resonate. It's one of those genres of music that you sort of need to be in the vibe to really understand, appreciate.
Be involved in it.
Correct. And and we've seen records that sort of explode. Like My Music Week is I'm glad you brought it up because I mean, we're almost now in December, so we were going to go. It was right when COVID was sort of breaking.
Yeah.
And our last show at the Grand, if you remember, was with Sam Felt.
Sam Felt.
Apparently, you need to bring Sam Felt up in every episode of the Marckie Show.
I mean, Sam. And
love Sam.
Farouk
Love Farouk.
And Denny.
Shout out.
Big shout out.
Big shout out.
Those are my boys.
I'll never forget this because it was a Thursday night show, and I remember I put on my IG story, last party of the year. Ha ha ha.
Yikes.
Ha ha ha. Last party of the year, and
You
people
started this mess.
I fucking started.
You started this mess. This is on you.
It's my fault.
This is on you.
So it was that period in March, and I remember we were going to go down to Miami Music Week. It's something I look forward to every year. You know, there are 3 places a year that basically the dance music community comes together. It's Miami Music Week, it's ADE in Amsterdam, and it's Vegas during EDC week. But you know, Miami Music Week to me is the most fun, and it's a combination of fun and also the ability to connect with a lot of different people.
Yeah, lots of networking.
Yeah, because especially at the pool parties, you could literally just bounce from one to one and run into people and talk to people. In Vegas, it's tough because you go to one club and you're sort of stuck, and it's not as easy to sort of hop around. I mean, you could literally in a day go from a techno party to a tech house party to a trance party to every genre imaginable, like, you know, every label, like it's incredible. It's pretty insane. So I do think, you know, there have been a lot of records that have been broken during my Music Week, especially at Ultra. You know, Ultra is a huge stage for that. You know, not having that, you know, this year, and it remains to be seen if there's anything this year. I mean, March is 3.5 months away, but and Florida is the wild, wild west anyway.
Florida is just. They do whatever. Look, Florida was doing whatever the fuck they wanted before this anyway.
Correct.
I'm pretty sure that they've tried to annex themselves from the United States just to be on their own.
So there may actually be Miami Music Week with.
I mean, at this point,
no
stopping them.
So yes, not having it last year, not being able to go to ADE, not being able to go out for EDC week. Those are critical times, I think, in artist careers. And I manage artists, like in being able to introduce other artists and break them and things of that effect. And I have a very interesting Miami Music Week story as well. We were talking about Hardwell earlier. One of the things I've been going, since 2011, I think, so like the last 9 years. I'll never forget this story. Hardwell was, named the #1 DJ that year. He closed out Ultra. It was his first headline closeout, and he threw an after party at this place called Wall. Super small. Again, some of the best times I've had have been in very small, intimate, like fun. Different than being with 100,000 people. And as much as I enjoy that, it's a little more intense. So he has this after party at Wall, and there was this kid there. His name was Martin Garrix, right? No. Had this small song called Animals.
Sounds like a guy. Yeah, I was gonna say sounds like an animal.
This was, I don't know, 2015. I don't know years. I don't know years.
Yeah,
they all blend together. Yeah. They all feel like one big year. I will remember this year because it did nothing this year. So I'll remember 2020 as
very easy to remember.
Guess what? I didn't go to Wall in 2020. No. I didn't go to Ultra.
You didn't meet Martin Garrix in 2020.
Correct. I didn't. And I remember it was towards the tail end of Miami Music Week. And one of the issues I always had was by the tail end, I'd have no voice.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Zero voice.
It kills you, man. I mean, we did that. We did the run with Black Caviar where we did 8 shows in 3 days. And my voice was shot.
Gone.
I was slugging tea. I was drinking honey I was just taking the little honey bear and just squirting it in my mouth.
You like squirting a little honey bear straight into your mouth?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I had no choice.
Yeah, sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
I was struggling.
Yeah.
My voice was struggling. Everything else was fine.
It's crazy because you're in these environments for 14 straight hours talking over loud decibel music, and at some point your voice just goes. So Hardwell's there. He brings over Martin, and he gives me this massive intro, better than your intro today.
I mean, you wrote your own intro.
I didn't write this. I don't know what you're talking about. He gives this massive intro about how I was the first to book him in the U.S. I'm a good friend of his, but it was 2 minutes before he actually introduced me. I was like, what is he saying? Right?
This is great.
I had zero voice. So he leans over. He's like, hey man, good to meet you. I've known Robert forever. Blah blah blah. And I said something to him, and I don't remember exactly what I said. I was like, hey, love animals. You're on the up. I said something to him. He looks at me. My voice sounded like it was, you couldn't hear me. And we're in a club. He looks at me and he goes, rah, 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 rah.
You just got
and then I
mocked by
repeated,
Martin Garrix.
and I repeated myself. I was like, dude, I know you can't really hear me, but blah blah blah. And he goes, rah, 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 rah.
Man, just Scooby-Dooed you.
He Scooby-Dooed me. Martin Garrix Scooby-Dooed me. That was the first time I had met him, and he literally, I'll never forget. I actually died laughing because it was pretty freaking funny to
Yeah.
because he couldn't understand a word I was saying. We're in this club, and it just sounded like rah, 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 rah.
That is too funny.
Yeah,
That's
so,
too funny.
Miami Music Week in a nutshell. Rah, 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 rah.
Yeah, Miami Music Week. Don't be Scooby-Doo.
Don't be Scooby-Doo.
I'm gonna sell that phrase to them for next year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you meet important people, have a voice somehow.
Yeah, you have to carry the honey bear around in your pocket. Just start
just
slugging honey bear. They're gonna be like, "What's Tim do?" It's like he's about to talk to Martin Garrix. He needs to slug the honey bear.
Can you imagine?
Sorry,
Robert.
Diplo.
No. Robert does his full intro, and then before I talk, I go,
Oh, honey bear.
Honey bear. All right, honey bear. Just squeeze that straight.
Yeah. They'd be like, "Get this guy out of our club. Get him out."
But then I could just talk.
Yeah, and then you'd be great.
I actually listen.
You'd probably have the voice of an angel.
If I could talk with just squeezing a honey bear honey into my mouth,
Yeah.
I would bring that to clubs.
Yeah. I mean, I might have to. We might have to just make that a thing.
We may be bringing 2021.
Yep.
Bringing honey bears to clubs.
Yep.
Let's go.
Yep. We have to make sure that's on the approved list of things that you can bring into clubs.
It should be on every rider at Big Night Live from here on out.
That's
Yes.
it. I'm just gonna buy a whole case.
Just invest in honey bear honey.
I'm just gonna we're gonna make Big Night Live honey bear. We're just gonna put a little shirt on them,
I love it.
little BNL logo on the front.
Take all of your OnlyFans money.
Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna need you to give me back that 20% so I can buy honey
I'll
bears.
reinvest that, and it just turns
perfect.
into 35% on the honey bear shirts.
Jeez,
But
now you're
it
just
just
stealing my
recuts itself to that amount. But yes,
Yeah.
honey bears 2021.
You're just the manager of the year.
Yes.
And we're gonna get to that.
All right.
You have a gold record.
Technically,
You
I didn't write it.
I don't
but
know. I mean, but you have a gold record.
I do have a gold record.
And you manage Black Caviar, Castra, Science, Party with Ray.
Correct.
Absolute stud artist. Just a great collective of artists, genres. I mean, obviously, I love the Black Caviar guys, but the music that's coming out of the pipeline is just nuts. Can you speak a little bit on what you got coming up with those guys?
Sure. So
Stuff that's not NDA?
yes.
Okay.
I mean, one of the benefits I think of we talk about quarantine and coronavirus. Wow. Why do people not say coronavirus anymore? Do you remember the first few months?
It's so hard.
But it was all coronavirus, and now it's just COVID-19. Like
It's just easy.
You don't hear corona. Like I bet you Corona the beer is so excited that like no one says
Yeah,
coronavirus
You're
anymore.
probably right. I think they were like pissed off at the start.
I think they sued Fauci.
I was taking Coronas down. Like I was in support. I was just like, let's go. Like I want to be a part of this.
What do you mean you were taking Coronas down?
Just slugging them.
Oh,
I was buying them. People were just like, don't buy Corona. Like in the beginning, it was like
which
coronavirus.
is so ridiculous.
I was the one buying them all. I was keeping them in business. I single-handedly kept Corona in business at the start of this.
You kept Corona in business.
Yeah, I did.
Shout out Corona.
Yeah, not the virus, but
Not
beer.
the virus.
Not the virus. The beer.
Where were we? I just completely lost.
Yeah.
Oh, we're talking about one of the benefits of coronavirus.
Yeah.
And the pandemic we've been in is we've been able to really focus on the management side. We launched a new company this year, Big Night Talent.
Congrats.
Yeah, in conjunction with Big Night Entertainment. Really, really excited about that. Lots of things to come in 2021. We were actually able to work with 2 new acts, where we wouldn't have had the time to sort of do that with everything else that we had going on, and really excited about both Castra and Science. Some massive heat.
I've heard some hits.
You've heard some
You've
hits.
played me some hits.
Yes.
Boy, oh boy.
There are some hits coming.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, like, for me, from a career progression standpoint, I looked back a couple years ago and I said, listen, I can't be, running shows and in clubs, till 3:00 in the morning for the rest of my life. That's just not,
Right.
I'm not gonna be able to sustain that. Right. It's just not feasible.
I
Some people
will.
can. I mean, you will. I mean, Mark will, but it's just not, it's not me. Like I have a family and I also live 90 minutes away. And, there are a lot of factors in which, sort of being in the club all the time. I like to come out. I always like to come out and experience it and connect with the artist. But, I knew sort of like having a transition plan on the management side was big. So we were able to work with 2 new artists this year, along with Black Caviar and Party with Ray. Party with Ray had a massive record with Zoo as well that came out. Yeah. And then the Black Caviar project and the guys, Troy and Jared, shout out, has really progressed. They're writing a lot of music. We had a bunch of releases this year. And, the gold record was for What's Up Danger.
Yeah.
Which was featured on the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse soundtrack. I'm actually wearing my Spider-Man Jordans right now.
Those things are sick.
Yeah, we actually got those for everyone when
those things are fire.
When the soundtrack came out, I was like, all right. So me, Marcus, and the guys, we had a show, and I brought the Spider-Man Jordans up, and it was Christmas time 2 years ago, I think it was.
That's so sick.
So yeah, they had this record on the Spider-Man soundtrack, which, interestingly enough, the Baltimore Ravens used last night in their hype video for Monday Night Football.
I mean, the song is just fire.
It is. It's a little left of center of the stuff they normally do, but quite honestly, they're not bound by genre. I feel like they're an act that can do hip hop, can do house, can do Latin vibes. Literally they're incredible producers. So the gold record was for that. And, it obviously felt very good. And it's one of those things that, you do a million things as a manager and as a management team. And it's just, one of those things that you can look at sort of as vindication for what you do. And, hopefully with all of our acts, as we grow the roster and as we work with the acts that we have right now, that there'll be many gold and potential platinum records. But, that's where I sort of see the transgression of Tim Benito and Big Night Talent and the acts and sort of moving forward.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, that leads me into my next question. What is next for Tim Benito?
I mean, listen, we got to get rid of this coronavirus. You know? I mean, what's next is the safe eradication. I don't know if it's ever going to be eradicated per se, but we all need to get back to work. You know, it's been rough. It's definitely been rough. It's been tough to develop acts. It's been tough to not know if and when you're going to come back. But I think we're finally seeing some light to the end of the tunnel, and hopefully by the spring/summer we'll be back. I think it's sort of what I just talked about. It's growing the management side and looking for new clients on that side. It's going back to booking 15 shows a week between Big Night Live and Grand and Memoir and Shrine.
Have you already started that? Have you started that process?
No.
Is there a...
No.
Nothing yet?
No. The
industry's on a lull. What do they call it? Hibernating?
Sabbatical. They're on a,
yeah.
Well, it's interesting because some guys are not, right? They're booking for 2022, right? And I've booked a few things, but I think early on in this process, I just did so much rescheduling that it's very tough for me to be like, yeah, let's book this day. So I'm putting holds down and doing some things.
Right.
I think as we move toward, I mean, listen, we're and I know we're trying to make I know Marckie P trying to go global, but we're in Massachusetts, right? And the restrictions here are cumbersome, I guess we will say, and we're headed towards even more difficult. More difficult restrictions without a plan. Where's the plan?
Yeah.
There just isn't a plan. Just, hey, shut us down. Guess what? I mean, you and I were talking earlier about the fact that now in restaurants, which is banana land,
sip and what were we calling it?
Sip and drip? No, not sip and drip. Whoa.
No, it was like eat and sip. You have to put your mask on in between eats and sips.
So imagine this: mask, sip. Just two people at a table, right? That are probably cohabitate together, right?
Right.
So you wear a mask.
Oh, that's a word.
Cohabitate.
I can't spell that.
It's a Monday. And there you go. Yeah. You can spell cohabitate.
Yeah,
it's not that many.
I don't want to do it right now. I don't want to embarrass myself.
Cohabitate. Maybe they'll spell it out for you on the graphics.
Yeah.
Kyle. Cohabitate.
No, I need Sam, the producer, to put cohabitate right underneath. Cohabitate.
Yes.
I don't know if you can. I don't know what we
can
got there.
Sam spell it?
I don't know.
I don't know. He looks like he can spell it.
Hey, Sam, can you spell cohabitate?
COHABITATE.
Oh, there's no E.
Good.
No.
Sounds good.
Well, there's probably an E at the end of that,
Sounds
actually.
good.
I was the 4th grade spelling bee champion, so I should know this.
I'm the people's champ. I don't have to do anything I don't want.
Yeah.
especially spelled cohabitate.
Yeah. But anyway, the restrictions here, especially Massachusetts versus Florida, where it's just a freaking free-for-all.
Yeah.
Like,
Land.
space Miami is open and you can go there. It's just insane to me. But here, you can't even go into it. First of all, you have to leave a restaurant at 9 o'clock. Like, it's because COVID just comes out after 9 o'clock.
9:01.
But not only that now the person you cohabitate with, you have dinner with, you now have to wear a mask.
Yeah.
You have to go like this, right?
Eat and sip.
Sip. Wait, hold on, you gotta go. You gotta wear a mask.
Yep.
Sip.
Boom. Yep.
Back on, because it just because there's definitely been a huge percentage of cases that have been traced back to restaurants in Massachusetts, so they got to do something about it.
And the What's the Plan initiative that Big Night has started is incredible.
Yes.
I think it's great, and it's bringing light to the industry in a a positive manner. I think the message itself is great. Randy and Ed and Joe and the team and everybody, they've done a really great job with the the What's the Plan initiative.
Well, it's actually Where's the Plan? But
Where's the Plan?
Yes, it's all right. I was a What's the Plan guy for a little bit too.
Yeah, my bad.
It's okay.
Where's the Plan?
It's so good that you remember the name.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
I'm sorry, Marckie.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry. I just literally just undercut
we're
you.
gonna cut that right out.
Well, listen, what and where are sort of somewhat interchangeable, so you're good. So yes, go ahead with your thought.
You know why I said that? Because I looked at my notes and it says "What's next."
So it's just stuck in your.
Yeah, it's stuck in my head. It is what it is.
So anyway, it's an incredible movement. It's shedding light on not only here at Big Night, but all restaurants and nightlife.
Right.
Throughout the state and throughout New England that have basically had to shutter without a plan from our government officials of. And now these even more restrictions. It's impossible to operate.
Yeah.
Without saying, all right, you know what, we're going to close you, but here's what we're going to do. And there just hasn't been any of that. And it's we're one of the very few industries, the hospitality industry, that has just been like on the back. Like most of your friends and most of my friends are back to work in a normal capacity, right?
Right.
They are.
Yeah.
Even with COVID, like 80% of people I know, well, maybe not 80% because I have a lot of friends in the industry, but 80% of the people I know outside the industry are back to work. There are very few professions that are like stuck right now, and we're in this scenario where it's like, dude, where is the point? Like, what if we're gonna do all of this, right? If we're gonna say you're gonna need to close at 10, you need to wear a mask.
Yeah. The amount of money that restaurants have put back into their restaurant to make it safe. How do they recoup that?
Unreal.
How do they recoup that?
And here's the kicker: is they've spent this money and have done everything under regulations. They've done everything by the book, and we're still getting kicked in the balls.
Yeah, it's gross.
And there isn't this like massive outbreak of cases from restaurants. Like there is not there. I could see if 30 cases came from a restaurant in Boston, and all of a sudden it spread. All right. Cool, shut it down, right? Like I get it. There's been none of that. It's like 0.7% of all cases in the entire state are traced back to restaurants. So it's, hopefully there will be a plan soon. Like we all need it.
Yeah.
You need it, I need it, Big Night needs it. Like not only us, but
we deserve it.
Everybody
we deserve a plan.
All of our brothers and sisters that are, bar backs and waitresses and, all these people that work unbelievably hard that have had to sit on the sidelines and sort of wait to sort of see what happens. And, and Big Night and Ed and Randy and Joe have done a phenomenal job with keeping as many people employed as possible. And that's the root of this is keeping people employed, like having them be able to feed their families, like literally, the things that they have done for raising money and bringing light to this Where's the Plan. It's spreading. It's a movement. I love it. Love every second.
It's fantastic, and the videos they're making are just awesome.
Unreal.
They're unreal.
Yeah.
The production value is incredible. The message is incredible. Even though I messed it up earlier looking at my notes.
It's all good.
It is what it is.
It's apparently not that incredible.
Yeah. Oh, you stop that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Tim Benito. Thank you. I'm going to clap it for you.
Oh,
Thanks
golf
for
clap.
being here.
Golf clap.
Hope you enjoyed yourself. I had a blast.
It was my pleasure. I mean, we have talked for hours.
Yeah.
You know, so we could probably go on and on about things, but you know, it's just fun to look at your mug.
It's weird.
You know,
it's so weird to just look.
You're looking
Every time
that eye, by the way, is looking a little bit at you.
Yeah.
It's a little side eye.
Are you saying I got a lazy eye?
It's a little lazy.
I think he's just.
It's.
I think you just openly said I have a lazy eye.
I don't know if it's as much lazy as it's looking at you. It's just making sure that you're crushing it.
Man, well now I'm fucking gonna look in the mirror and be like, wow, is this thing messed up?
Oh, I just gave you a complex.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be poking my eye all day to make sure it stays straight. Man, this fell right off the road. We did good until you said I had a lazy eye.
Oh, you were ready to wrap it up in a professional manner.
Not anymore. Now I'm just upset about my lazy eye.
The very fair-skinned Marckie P with a lazy eye.
I look better as a cartoon.
Oh, you do. You should have a cartoon.
A cartoon lazy eye.
The Marckie P cartoon.
Brutal.
It can't be called Marckie P lazy eye cartoon.
I mean, it could be called anything I want it to be.
Sure, you could. I mean, listen, you're gonna make all that money on OnlyFans.
Sam, do I have a lazy eye? No. Thank you.
Oh, he's gonna tell you. He's
the
gonna,
best.
You know, what else is he gonna tell you?
He's the best. He could tell me yes, and then I just have to walk right out of here. It's to be the last show I ever do.
That's the end. That's the end of the Marckie P show. Yes.
Episode 3. Mark gets his lazy eye fixed.
Yes. Yeah. He needs to fix it. Fix it. Yes.
Oh man. Well, thanks, Tim.
Appreciate it, brother.
You're the best.
Pleasure. Congrats on your endeavor. And I know Joe Rogan, watch the fuck out.
Joe Rogan, I'm coming.